The married trust fund kid spots a bar girl and sees her as easy prey. He leads her to an alley, planning to get physical with her out, only to run into a group of paparazzi. Fearing the exposure of his soliciting, Sedat lunges to grab their cameras. A fight breaks out as neither side is willing to back down. However, one man is no match for four. Sedat is kicked to the ground by the paparazzi. Just as he's about to pass out, a dozen gangsters rush out, stop the paparazzi, and carry Sedat away. It turns out Javit had come to his rescue and taken him back to his villa to recover. Javit reassures him not to worry, saying he'll handle the paparazzi and the scandal. After all, Javit is married to Sedat's mother's sister. They're practically family. Grateful, Sedat doesn't hesitate to sign the share transfer agreement, selling all his shares to Javit. Javit promises to transfer $200 million to him the next day. Sedat is content, unaware that he's fallen into Javit's trap. Later, Sedat finds Kana and suggests eloping with her to London, England. Kana is tired of hearing such talk from Sedat. He's said it more than once. She glares at him in annoyance, but her resolve wavers when she hears he has an extra $200 million in his account. Ever since she'd returned to her husband, Kana's life had been like hell. Alp kept her under constant surveillance, even forbidding her from going to the gym. Kana retorted that she wasn't a chained-up dog, and he had no right to restrict her freedom. Alp flew into a rage, warning her to either obey or get out of the house. It was then that Kana realized his forgiveness had just been a ploy to get back at her, treating her as a tool for his lust. Unable to endure such insults and oppression any longer, Kana finally agrees to run away with Sedat, but on the condition that she take her 2 children with her. Overjoyed, Sedat tells her to pack her bags and that he'll pick them up the next day. Before leaving, Sedat has one more thing to do: cut ties with his wife once and for all. He calls Nalan, asking her to meet him for dinner at a restaurant. Nalan already has a bad feeling. After all, her husband has been missing for days without a word. Nalan takes extra care to dress up, slathering on perfume and donning luxury items, hoping to please her husband. The moment they meet, Sedat tells her he lost the board chairman election, has been disowned by his father, and is now penniless. Nalan is shocked, and only then does she realize why he'd gone missing. But she brushes it off and says none of that matters. She doesn't care if he's the heir or not. All she wants is his sincerity. She's willing to stand by him through every hardship, to build a life from scratch. A flicker of emotion crosses Sedat's face, but he quickly steels himself and asks for a divorce. Nalan freezes, as if hit by a thunderbolt. Sedat is brazen enough to claim he's not worthy of her. She's like a rose blooming unspoiled amid thorns, while he's just muck in a gutter, bound to drag her down. Tears stream down Nalan's cheeks. She's completely oblivious to Mama lurking behind a pillar, eavesdropping. When Sedat reaches for her hand in consolation, Nalan notices his wedding ring is long gone. She's no fool. She sees through his lies, all crafted to cast her aside. Nalan yanks off her diamond ring and shoves it back at him, then strides out of the restaurant, swallowing her grief. Barely a month has passed since she walked down the aisle full of joy, and now she's been abandoned. She couldn't understand how the man who'd sworn endless love could break his vows so easily. Harry trails beside her, anxious for her safety, gesturing for her to get in the car and go home. Nalan drifts back to her room in a state of despair and starts packing her things. Mrs. Corglu and Muso notice that something is wrong and ask her what's wrong. Nalan doesn't hide it any longer, telling them Sedat is dead set on divorce. Mrs. Corglu panics and pleads with her to stay. They'll try to persuade Sedat to come back. But Nalan doesn't see the need. A marriage forced to last can never be happy. In an instant, the Corglu family crumbles. Their daughter and son-in-law have run off, and now their son and daughter-in-law are divorcing. No one dares tell Mr. Corglu, fearing it might trigger a heart attack. Harry then drives Nalan to her parent house. But as she reaches the door, she remembers her wedding night, how Mama had refused to take her in, saying once a daughter's married, she's no longer part of the family. Too ashamed to face Mama, she goes to her best friend's place to crash, pouring out her woes. The friend's comfort and company move Nalan deeply. She's grateful that in this world that's let her down so utterly, a glimmer of hope still remains. Meanwhile, Mama storms over to the table and confronts Sedat, demanding to know why he's been so cruel to her daughter and what the real reason for the divorce is. Sedat responds coldly, saying it's a private matter between him and Nalan, none of her business. But Mama's gut tells her Kana is behind this. Thinking of Nalan's heartbroken state, Mama is overcome with pain. She's determined to get justice for her granddaughter. At the first glimmer of dawn the next day, Mama pounds furiously on the Koroglu's door, asking to speak to Mr. Koroglu alone. Mr. Koroglu is still half asleep when Mama unleashes a torrent of scolding on him. Only then does he learn that his good-for-nothing son has asked for a divorce and that Nalan has left. Guilt washes over him. Mama presses him on how he plans to fix this mess, warning that if he doesn't act immediately, she'll hold a press conference and expose all his son's dirty secrets. Mr. Koroglu is clearly intimidated. After all, he knows her well enough to believe she'd actually do it, and if she did, his entire family and company would be ruined. He swears on the spot he'll make Sedat get on his knees and beg Nalan to come back. Mr. Koroglu has no choice but to call his daughter back, ordering her to cut off all Sedat's financial resources, including his credit cards. Without money, he'll crawl back on his own. But Seelan says it's too late. Investigations show Sedat has already sold his shares at a rock-bottom price to their archenemy, Javit. He now has a fortune in hand and won't listen to anyone. Mr. Koroglu's rage nearly stopped his heart. He could have torn that useless son of his limb from limb. On the other side, Mama takes Nalan to the basement. When Nalan sees her mother pull out that man-proof corset, the one that's confined her for years, she starts trembling, her body racked with dread. Mama tells her, now that you're single again, you need to protect yourself even better than before you were married. Starting tomorrow, you'll wear this corset again, and the maid will help you bathe. In fact, Mama does this to irritate Nalan into fighting to save her broken marriage. And sure enough, it works. Nalan would rather die than go back to that life. Torturous. Worse than prison. At the airport, Sedat waits with eager anticipation for Kana and her kids. Suddenly, the bank calls to inform him that his account has been frozen, all because Javit abruptly pulled out of the deal to buy his shares. Javit calls him up, voice laced with disappointment. You've spent your life toying with people. Now, it's your turn to taste what it's like to be played. It turns out that just hours earlier, Mr. Koroglu had stormed over to Javit, asking he return all the shares. But Javit, still holding a grudge from past feuds, refused at first. Mr. Koroglu urged him to set personal grievances aside. We can settle our scores later. Right now, a young couple's home is falling apart, and an innocent girl's happiness is about to be destroyed. Without money, Sedat wouldn't have the means to run away with Kana. As they say, breaking a marriage is a sin far greater than destroying even sacred things. Though Javit loathed Mr. Koroglu, he couldn't bring himself to ruin an innocent girl's life. At the airport, Kana dreams of building a new family with Sedat and the kids, no longer living in hiding. Sedat's heart thrums with fear, but he dares not voice. He just tells her to go check in first. He goes to a convenience store to buy water, only to find, much to his shock, all his credit cards are blocked. Kana's daughter asks for a box of cookies, but he has just 10 lira left in his wallet, not nearly enough. He has no choice but to lie. Once we get to the new place, I'll buy you something even more delicious. Now truly penniless, Sedat slips into a bathroom and cries. He once boasted he'd give Kana and her kids a life of happiness, but now that's all gone up in smoke. And he knows perfectly well Kana would never put up with being without a single cent. To me, what's scarier is he's too hung up on his petty pride to tell Kana the truth. Just as he's torn between choices, Nalan appears like an angel, hoping to save their shattered marriage. Nalan's eyes are fixed only on him. She doesn't notice Kana in the waiting area. She pleads with Sedat to come back with her. But the cowardly Sedat hesitates, confessing that his father doesn't like him and that he's lost everything. Nalan, who grew up with a controlling mother, knows exactly how that feels. She urges him to stop cowering. Even if he runs to the ends of the earth, his fear of his father will follow. The best way is to face his father head-on. She loves him for who he is, not his money. Whether fortune smiles or frowns, she's set on sticking with him. Deeply moved, Sedat takes her hand and walks away without looking back. Kana is so enraged she could spit blood when she sees this scene. She calls Sedat, but he simply shuts his phone off to avoid her. Kana has no other choice. She slips her wedding ring back on and heads back to Alp's house. She tells the two kids they must never tell anyone about what just happened, especially not their dad. She picks up her daughter, tells her to close her eyes and pretend to feel unwell. Then she tries to deceive Alp, claiming their daughter had a fever and she'd just gone out to the hospital. However, Alp doesn't believe her, especially when he sees the suitcases in the trunk. He calls a private detective, ordering him to investigate Kana's recent movements. Meanwhile, with Nalan by his side, their fingers tightly interlaced, Sedat finally musters the courage to return to the villa where his tyrannical father lives. The moment Mr. Koroglu lays eyes on his rotten son, his anger flares up instantly. He scolds Sedat mercilessly and dismisses him as utterly worthless. Nalan reaches out to stop him, begging her father-in-law to calm down and speak with her alone. See how important it is for a weak man to marry a wife favored by his parents. It's just such a pity for this wife, though. Nalan doesn't agree with her father-in-law's way of educating children. Though he is a successful businessman, he has never stood in a father's shoes to listen to his child's thoughts. As the saying goes, it takes two to tango. When a child has problems, parents are also to blame. They should try to be more tolerant and understanding. Mr. Koroglu agrees with her point of view, but he is so used to being dominant that he really doesn't know how to change overnight. Nalan tells him to first forgive himself, then forgive his children. Next, he should change the family's punishment system. When a child makes a mistake, they should be encouraged to get back up instead of being scolded relentlessly. Her words strike a deep chord with Mr. Koroglu. After some reflection, Mr. Koroglu calls his daughter and son-in-law back. He admits that he lost his father at a young age and has never experienced fatherly love, which is why he doesn't know how to be a good father himself. Fortunately, he has met a good daughter-in-law. It is she who has taught him how to express love for his children. Everyone is deeply moved by the father's heartfelt words, the first time he has ever spoken so openly. The whole family's hearts are slowly inching toward one another. Mr. Koroglu even hands over the management of the newly opened branch to Sedat, giving him a chance to grow. This fills Sedat with immense gratitude toward Nalan. He vows to love her well and never let her down again. In the afternoon, Kana angrily tracks down Sedat and calls him a total coward. She has made such a huge sacrifice for him, dragging their 2 children along, wanting to elope with him. If her husband finds out, she'll be dead. Sedat shoots back. Would you still have come with me if you'd known I was bankrupt? Kana freezes in place, unable to answer for a long time. Sedat sneers. That's the difference between you and Nalan. She doesn't care that I'm penniless. She even defends me in front of my father. Sedat makes it clear that he's done with her and will have no further contact with her. But Kana will never let things end like that. She is determined to make them pay. As she walks out of the company, Kana happens to run into Nalan's father. She instantly turns into a drama queen, sobbing her heart out to fish for sympathy. Dad thinks she is heartbroken over her husband's divorce and comforts her patiently. Kana promptly collapses into his arms. It is a move that stirs protective instincts in any man, even a 70-year-old. Kana takes the opportunity to ask for his contact information. A plan for revenge is taking root in her heart. When Mama learns that Nalan has won her husband back and even set her father-in-law straight, she begins to see Nalan in a whole new light. At that moment, a magazine calls Nalan, inviting her to be their cover girl. Nalan, who dislikes being in the spotlight, politely declines. But Mama urges her to accept. For one thing, she's now part of Turkey's most talked about family. She should get out more and build her own prestige. For another, only by boosting her self-worth can she keep a man at her feet, preventing him from leaving again and again. Mama's words are a wake-up call for Nalan. The once timid woman starts to change. She agrees to the magazine cover shoot. She lets go of her inhibitions, letting everyone see her beauty, grace, and elegance. Sedat's eyes light up when he sees his dazzling wife. He buys her a new diamond ring as a gift to mark their fresh start. But Nalan, no longer meek, begins to refuse things she doesn't like. She tells him she prefers her old ring instead. It's no secret that husbands love showing off their stunning wives, and this way, he'll start feeling the heat too, scared of losing her. However, when a wife's brilliance overshadows everything, it's hardly a good thing for a husband who's accomplished so little. On this day, Nalan attends the press conference for the new hotel with Sedat. After all, she single-handedly handled the hotel's interior design. Her contribution is undeniable. Sedat speaks with confidence, expressing his determination to turn the hotel into a world-class establishment. But the reporters are not interested in his lofty ambitions. They only have questions for Nalan. It turns out that the magazine cover featuring Nalan has gone viral, and her exceptional elegance has catapulted her to fame overnight. What was supposed to be a major hotel launch has turned into Nalan's personal showcase. Her radiance clearly outshines Sedat, the nominal star of the event. This leaves him humiliated and seething with resentment inside. On the other hand, seeing Muso shut away in his room all day, Nalan can tell he's lonely. Maybe having a girlfriend would liven him up. She thinks Muso is the kindest and most upright man in the world, steadfast and dependable for a woman, truly marriage material. So she invites her best friend over, planning to set her up with Muso. However, Biller is reluctant to accept. She doesn't like dull men. Muso feels like a block of stone to her. She prefers someone fiery and passionate. Unbeknownst to them, Muso overhears their conversation outside the door. Unwilling to ruin Nalan's mood, Muso lies, saying he already has a girlfriend. Nalan is overjoyed and invites him to bring his girlfriend along for dinner, so everyone can get to know each other. Muso has no choice but to pay a woman named Melissa to pretend to be his girlfriend. Her clothing style and makeup are all as Muso requested. She's practically a copy of Nalan, the woman he loves. Sedat thinks she looks familiar and asks her if she's seen him before. A flash of panic crosses Melissa's face. In fact, she once serviced Sedat at a hotel, with not a stitch of clothing on. It's just that Sedat hasn't recognized her yet. Meanwhile, Alp receives a tip from his detective. Kana and the kids bought plane tickets out of the country, but never boarded. Alp finally figures it out. She was planning to run off with Sedat, taking the kids with her. He flies into a rage, confiscating her passport and canceling all her credit cards. He says she can leave anytime if she wants, but if she tries to take the kids from him, he'll kill her. Kana, feeling helpless, texts Sedat to meet up. Coincidentally, he's chatting with his brother in the distance, and his phone is with Nalan. She gets flustered when she sees the message, worried there's something going on between them. When the phone rings again, Sedat picks it up with a calm face. He then says that his friend has asked him to meet him for something, and he needs to leave first. Nalan is overcome with anxiety. A woman's intuition tells her something is very wrong. After Sedat leaves, Nalan heads to the restaurant address in the text. As expected, Kana is already waiting. Nalan decides to wait and see if Sedat shows up. This is Maroon Recap. Check out my homepage and you'll see more recaps of Camdaki Kiz. I'm hastening to write and edit the next recap, so feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.